The space station's Star Academy floated like a silver ring around the soft blue glow of a distant star. It was one of the most advanced academies in the galaxy, where young people from many worlds came to learn about technology, diplomacy, and exploration. The academy was full of sounds, everyday footsteps on the bright metal floors, quiet laughter in the halls, and the hum of ships arriving and leaving the docks. Humans were not the only students here. There were tall, blue-skinned Lernians, shining crystal-bodied Vexer, and the mysterious Oralissa, telepathic species, could feel thoughts and emotions like waves in the air. Among all the students, Riley Quinn, a second-year human cadet, was known for two things: his curious mind. His love of harmless jokes. Riley was not a troublemaker. He just liked making people laugh. Sometimes he programmed small drones to follow his friends around, or created fake floating cupcakes in the cafeteria. His pranks were never mean. He believed laughter could make even the coldest space station feel warm. One cold morning, when the hallway lights glowed soft gold, Riley saw something new. A tall figure in a silver uniform walked past the row of lockers. Her skin was pale like starlight, and her eyes shone softly, like liquid gold. Her black hair floated a little around her head, as if the air itself moved gently around her. She was Saren Errol, the new Oralist exchange student. People whispered her name in the cafeteria. Oralist students were rare. They came from a world where everyone could sense thoughts and emotions without speaking. Saren was calm, quiet, and elegant. She always walked like she was listening to something invisible. Riley tilted his head as she passed. A mind reader, huh? He thought. Let's see if she can handle a little human fun. He didn't mean any harm. He only wanted to see what would happen if he played a little prank. And maybe, just maybe, he also wanted to talk to her. But Riley would never say that out loud. He didn't even fully understand why his heart beat faster when she walked by. That afternoon, Riley went to the lab where students practiced basic hologram programming. He opened a small silver box on the table, his favorite toy. Inside was a tiny projector he had built himself. It could create realistic floating images: flowers, balloons, animals, even small stars. He programmed the projector quickly. A glowing bouquet of flowers appeared, spinning slowly in the air. When touched, the bouquet would release soft bubbles and a funny laugh. It was simple and sweet. Perfect, Riley whispered. He smiled to himself. She'll never see this coming. He placed the small projector in his pocket and left the lab. The academy halls were bright. The air smelled clean and cool. Outside the large windows, ships floated in silence. Riley walked toward the library wing. Saren often sat near the big glass wall there, reading about different species and listening to quiet music. When he reached the corner, saw her exactly where he expected. Saren sat on a silver bench reading a glowing tablet. A soft blue scarf was around her neck. She looked peaceful, like someone who had lived many calm years. A few students passed by, whispering to each other. Everyone seemed a little nervous around her. Telepaths could make anyone nervous. Riley took a deep breath. Okay, Riley, he told himself. Just a little prank. No big deal. In and out, he activated the projector. The flowers appeared in the air behind her, shining softly like warm stars. Slowly, he tiptoed closer, trying not to make a sound. But just before he could tap her shoulder, Saren spoke in a quiet, gentle voice. I know your secret. Riley froze. The words hit him like a sudden gust of cold air. She didn't turn around. She just kept looking at her tablet. Her voice was calm, like water on a still lake. What? Riley whispered. She turned her head slowly, her golden eyes looking directly into his. They were bright and clear. Not cold, not angry, just knowing. I know your secret, she repeated softly. You're behind me with a hologram of flowers. The flowers popped softly as she reached out and touched them. Bubbles floated up and drifted around her. The laugh from the projector filled the quiet hall. Riley's cheeks turned pink. How did you? She smiled a little, just a small, almost hidden smile. I can feel intentions, Riley Quinn. You know my name? Everyone talks about the human who makes the station laugh, she said. It wasn't difficult. Riley blinked. His clever prank had lasted exactly 5 seconds. Saren had known the entire time. He scratched the back of his neck and laughed awkwardly. Well, I guess. You caught me. I did, she said. But your secret is not really about the flowers. He tilted his head. Huh, Saren's eyes softened. When you walked closer, your emotions changed. First there was playfulness, then something else. Warmth. Riley's face burned hotter. He had no idea how to hide emotions from someone who could feel them. It was like standing in front of a mirror that could talk. Maybe I just like making people smile, he said quickly. Saren closed her tablet. She stood up slowly, the soft glow from the window outlining her figure like moonlight. Humans have such noisy emotions, she said, almost to herself. They shine very bright as that. Good or bad? She thought for a moment. Different, but nice. The rumors spread through the academy in just a few hours. By dinner time, everyone was laughing and telling the story. Did you hear? Riley tried to prank the Orcs girl. She read his mind. No, she said she felt it. Orcs don't exactly read minds. Same thing? He turned bright red like a tomato. Riley didn't mind the teasing too much. He was used to it. But every time someone mentioned Saren, he felt that warm feeling in his chest again. It was strange. He'd pulled pranks 100 times before, but this time it felt different. More personal. More real. In the cafeteria, his best friend Kai, a Lernian with bright blue skin, nudged him with an elbow. So, Riley? Kai said, grinning. You like her? Riley nearly choked on his drink. What? No. I mean, she's just interesting. Kai raised an eyebrow. Interesting, sure. Okay, maybe a little, Riley admitted. But she can feel things, Kai. She probably already knows. Then you don't have to tell her, Kai laughed. Lucky you. Riley buried his face in his hands. Great, just great. The next morning, Riley walked into class earlier than usual. He didn't expect to see Saren there, but she was already sitting near the front, quietly reading. He almost turned around and left, but she looked up and saw him. She lifted one hand in a small wave. Riley waved back nervously and took a seat beside her. You're early, he said. So are you, she replied. There was a long pause. Riley wanted to say something funny, but for once he couldn't think of anything. Saren finally broke the silence. Humans are very loud, she said. He frowned. Sorry. Not in a bad way, she added quickly. Orcs emotions are soft and smooth like water. Human emotions feel like fireworks, bright, unexpected. Riley laughed softly. Yeah, that sounds about right. I like fireworks, she said. His heart skipped a beat. He didn't know why that simple sentence made him so happy. Well, he said, smiling, maybe I'll make you see real fireworks someday. Is that another prank? No, he said. A promise. Her eyes shimmered, and for a second, Riley thought she might have felt the honesty behind his words. That afternoon, they were assigned to the same group project in their communications class. They had to design a simple program to translate emotional signals into colors and sounds for interspecies training. Saren worked carefully, her long fingers moving gracefully across the glowing interface. Riley tried to keep his mind calm, but every time she leaned closer to look at the code, felt a rush of warmth inside. She glanced at him once. You're thinking too loudly. Sorry, he said quickly. I'm trying to be quiet. She shook her head gently. Don't be sorry. It's kind. What is? Your thoughts, she said. They're warm, bright. Riley didn't know what to say. He had never met anyone who could describe his feelings like colors. He felt seen in a way he didn't even know was possible. Days passed. The story of the failed prank turned into something else. People stopped laughing at Riley and started whispering about how he and Saren spent more time together. They walked to class side by side. They shared lunch sometimes. They even argued gently about which spaceport had the best noodles. But every time Saren said, I know your secret in that calm, soft voice, Riley felt that same spark in his chest. She didn't mean the prank anymore. She meant something deeper, something she had felt the moment he stepped behind her with those glowing flowers. One night, Riley sat alone by the big glass window of the station. Outside, the stars stretched forever, like tiny sparks in a black sea. He thought about her quiet smile, about the way she looked at the world, like she could hear its heartbeat. He didn't know what the future would bring. But he knew one thing for sure. This was more than just a prank. This was the start of
something.
Something human, something real. The soft blue glow of Star Academy's artificial sunrise filled the wide glass corridors. Ships were coming and going. Small drones buzzed softly above, and students hurried to their early classes. Riley Quinn walked slower than usual that morning. His hands were tucked into the pockets of his jacket, and his thoughts were a gentle storm inside his head. It had been a week since he had tried to prank Taryn RL, a week since she turned around, smiled softly, and said those words, "I know your secret."
I know your secret.
Everything had changed a little, not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. They started to talk more. They sat near each other in class. Sometimes they walked together without really planning it, and every time Riley looked at her, she was either reading something or looking out of the windows like she could hear the stars breathing. This morning, Riley stopped in front of the big silver door of the communication lab. A large screen floated beside it, showing the words Project Teams, Quantum Empathy, Bridge Human Oralist Research. His heart gave a small jump when he saw it. Their names were listed together: Riley Quinn, Human Cadet Saren Errol, Oralist, Exchange Student Triley took a deep breath. "All right," he whispered. "No big deal. Just a huge project that might make me embarrass myself in front of her. Totally fine." Inside the lab, Saren was already there. She wore a simple white academy uniform with a silver badge on her shoulder. The soft gold light around her skin shimmered gently. She was connecting wires to a small, transparent device shaped like a smooth crystal star. When Riley entered, she turned around and smiled a little. Not a wide smile, just that calm, warm one she always gave him. "You're late," she said. "By 2 minutes," he replied quickly. "That doesn't count." "It does," she said softly, in Oralist time. Riley laughed nervously. "Good thing I'm human, then." She tilted her head. "Yes," she said. "Good thing." The Quantum Empathy Bridge Project was one of the Academy's newest experiments. It was designed to let non-telepathic species share simple emotional signals with telepaths like the Oralists. If it worked, humans and telepaths could feel each other, not just guess or translate through words. Saren explained the theory in her calm, careful way. "When the bridge is active," she said, "I will be able to sense your emotional colors more clearly, and you might feel mine too." Riley nodded, trying to follow. "So it's like, I'll be able to feel what you feel." "In a very soft way," she said. "Not everything. Just the echo." "Echo? That sounds cool," he said. Her lips curved slightly upward again. Humans always like naming things beautifully. For the next few days, they worked side by side on the device. Saren was precise and elegant, every movement smooth. Riley was quick and creative, finding new ways to solve problems whenever the system made strange sounds. She would frown, and he would smile. She would explain the science, and he would crack a quiet joke. Somehow, their styles fit together like puzzle pieces. Sometimes, when they leaned over the table to fix a wire, Riley could feel the air change. It wasn't magic. It wasn't anything dramatic. It was something soft like the air itself holding a quiet conversation between them. Saren noticed it too. She didn't say anything, but sometimes her golden eyes looked at him for a little longer than usual, and every time Riley felt his heartbeat pick up speed. 3 nights before their final test, Riley couldn't sleep. He lay on his bunk, staring at the small stars projected on his ceiling. His roommate Kai had fallen asleep already, softly snoring like a gentle machine. Riley turned on his side and whispered to himself, "I like her." He had said it before in his head, but tonight it felt different. Real. Heavy and light at the same time. He had never felt this way for anyone before. Not like this. It wasn't just because she was beautiful in her calm, distant way. It was because she saw things differently. When others heard noise, she heard meaning. When others looked at space, she felt it. And she didn't laugh at his silly joke, she listened. He sighed softly. She probably already knows. The day of the final test arrived. The lab was quiet, filled with soft blue light. The crystal device was placed in the center of the room, surrounded by glowing cables. A small floating console displayed their heartbeats and brainwaves. Riley sat across from Saren. A soft band was placed on his wrist. She had one on hers too. When the device turned on, their emotional signals would connect. "Are you ready?" she asked, honestly. "No," he admitted, "but let's do it anyway." She blinked slowly. "You are honest. That helps." The instructor gave them a short nod from behind the glass wall. "Begin when ready?" Saren touched the crystal device. It glowed faintly. Riley felt a soft vibration around his wrist. Then, something new happened. A warm wave spread gently through the air. It wasn't physical. It wasn't sound. It was a feeling. A soft golden light inside his chest. For a second, Riley gasped. He wasn't scared. It just felt strange, like opening a window he didn't know existed. Then he heard her voice in his head. Not loud, not forced, just a soft echo. "This is me." Her emotions were calm, like flowing water. Peaceful, deep. For the first time, Riley understood what it meant to feel someone without them speaking. He laughed softly. "It's warm." She looked surprised. "You can feel it?" "Yeah," he said. "It's like sunshine." "Like standing near a campfire?" She tilted her head. "Campfire. It's a human thing," he said. "Warm, safe." Her eyes softened. "I like that." Then something else happened. Riley felt a second wave, not from her, but from inside him. The device was reflecting his emotions back to her. His nervousness, his excitement, his quiet affection. He tried to hide it, but the bridge made hiding impossible. He saw the way her golden eyes widened just a little. She whispered, "Oh." Riley's heart jumped. "What?" "I can feel it," she said softly. "Your warmth. Your care." He swallowed hard. "Yeah, that's me." She didn't laugh. She didn't turn away. She just closed her eyes and listened to the emotions like they were music. "It's bright," she said, "like fireworks." Riley smiled slowly. "Told you I could show you real fireworks one day." The test lasted only 10 minutes, but it felt like time had slowed down. When the crystal turned off, Riley felt a strange emptiness. Something soft had just been taken away. Saren opened her eyes slowly. For the first time since they met, she looked almost unsure of what to say that was. She whispered, "Yeah," Riley said, still catching his breath. "That was something." She looked at him carefully. "Humans are very loud inside, sorry." She shook her head. "No, don't be sorry." It was beautiful. In the following days, their story spread through the academy again. But this time, it wasn't about a prank. It was about the success of the first true emotional bridge between humans and Orcs. The instructors were proud. The other students were curious. But for Riley and Saren, it was something more personal. They spent more time together, walking along the glowing hallways, talking about strange small things like how human food tasted noisy to her and how Orla songs didn't use words at all. One night, as they stood near the observation deck watching a starship leave the docks, Saren spoke softly. "When I came here," she said, "I thought humans were confusing." "Yeah," Riley said. "We kind of are."
At.
"But now," she continued, "I think you're wonderful." Riley's heart skipped again. He turned toward her. She wasn't smiling widely, but her eyes were brighter than ever. "I like your fireworks," she said. He laughed quietly. "And I like your calm waves." Graduation day for their research team came sooner than expected. They stood in front of the Academy Council with their project displayed behind them. Everyone clapped politely as the council leader spoke. This experiment, the leader said, proves that emotional understanding can build bridges stronger than any translator. Humanity has given the galaxy something new, a way to connect hearts, not just minds. Riley glanced at Saren. She was standing tall and calm, but when their eyes met, she gave him a soft look that said more than words ever could. Later that evening, when the halls were quiet and most students had gone to the celebration, Riley and Saren walked to their usual spot near the big window. Stars stretched endlessly outside, shining like scattered diamonds. For a moment, they just stood there in silence. Not an uncomfortable silence, an understanding one. "Riley," Saren said softly. "Yeah, I know your secret," she whispered again, just like that first day. He smiled. "Yeah, I guess you do." She looked up at the stars. "But now," she said, "it's not a secret anymore." He nodded slowly. "No, it's not." They stood together, watching a bright starship leave the dock. The soft light reflected in their eyes. Riley felt a gentle warmth in his chest, the same feeling he had felt when the empathy bridge connected them. But now, didn't need the machine. He didn't need words either. She could feel it, and he could feel her quiet calm beside him in that quiet moment. Riley understood something bigger than himself. Humans don't just explore space. They connect hearts. And Saren understood something too. Not all secrets are meant to be hidden. Some are meant to be shared.